Don't wax your chain in shame. Confessions of a chain waxer. Yeah, whatever. Update 2024. Yeah, we've been waxing chains for over a millennium. Well, not a millennium. Century? Century, yeah. Back on the Tour de France and Tour de Century, they actually used candle wax. So, hey, lo and behold, 100 years later, we are coming up with tungsten disulfide with paraffin wax mixture. Yes, this is the secret silica, which works really well, been tested by Zero Friction. Check out his channel, a link will be below. In addition to processing, cleaning brand new chains. So there's a couple things that kind of hit the market recently, and I've also changed my kind of way of doing things and the same at the same time. So I want to review a couple of things that I've been doing. I have an opportunity to clean and wax a new chain. Also in this video we'll go over re-waxing a current chain with mystery wax from a customer. After this.
Welcome to I Know a Guy Bicycles, hanging out with a guy. Hi, I'm Justin the Guy. Obviously I have a garage shop. Take scary out of used, one bike at a time. If you want to be kept up to date on latest projects and topics, please like and subscribe.
All right, we have several different things to go over fairly quickly, and we'll do it hopefully in clear form. So I used to use a hot bath water, kind of like melting chocolate system, and I switched it to a warmer. This warmer you can find on Amazon, guess it, and it's actually wax warmer for your hairy bits. So anyway, it's the same kind of concept. You melt the wax in there. I've been using this for several weeks, so it actually works. And what's kind of cool is it has two little pot system. We're going to go over that in a second. Silica is one of the leading wax brands out there. There's other ones, so everybody has their own flavor. But the Zero Friction actually did a test on it, and it works really well. I have it on several customers' bikes themselves. So there's been a couple things here in process. I'm going to start off with the waxer. Okay, the waxer here is two bits. Silica makes their own wax pot system, which is around $100. It's a single with a hang thing that holds the chain above it. Cool, fine and dandy, sure. This guy here for a two-pot system is roughly around $30. Way cheaper, does the same thing, and you get two sides instead of one. So the reason being I emphasize on that is because we're going to do a re-wax treatment, which you want to have one wax side with a strainer of some sort to actually catch any settlement of the old wax of the chain. So this is actually 4 1/4 inches wide diameter. Home Depot sells these little bad boys for the exact same diameter to catch the sediment, and it has just enough of a bump out, and it works, slides in there perfectly. Therefore, you're not wasting a lot of wax, and I'll have the links below to do your pre-wax. And for me, I don't know, I need to switch these. Wax on the right, fresh wax on the right, dirty wax on the left. I'm just, if you're in Australia or in England or in Europe where you drive on the other side of the road, you may want to do it differently. I am not saying anything pro or con, but it doesn't matter. It's whatever your direction goes. Just keep mindful. You can switch these, of course, but you don't want to start off with your dirty chain and put it in your good wax. So, all right. So we need to get these going and warmed up. Basically, I always unplug the darn thing to make sure I don't burn down the house. Last thing I need to do. And on these guys, they go to 203 Fahrenheit. They may have a Celsius version for those that are out of the States and more of a normal metric world versus ours. So we're going to get those warmed up. So that's going to warm up my good wax, and this is, or my clean wax, and this is going to be my dirty wax to re-wax a pre-existing chain. So the idea on a pre-existing chain that's already been waxed, you don't have to do the whole process of re-cleaning the wax itself. So we want to get this kind of in a two loop. And what I've taken, you can take coat hangers. What I've done is take old spokes to be able to hook them up like so to dip. The Silka one has like a coil hang, but it falls into the actual wax. This is kind of nice because it will stick up in the wax so you can still grab onto it and pull it up. So I roll it up like so. So that's ready to go into the pre-wax or wax section where I'm going to be trying to melt off the old wax. So the individual here uses his own wax blend, but I'm switching it to this. So that's why I want to shed the old contaminant wax and not contaminate my new wax by doing so. Usually if you're using the same brand, you can just go into the regular one for road bikes, gravel bikes, but if it's dirty gravel bike chain, this is kind of dirty, or mountain bikes, you want to do this two-step. Zero friction is definitely address those. And for the hangy thingy, we're going to unveil this little guy. This is basically a purse holder, creativity of a bike mechanic, to find things on Amazon, right? What this does, for me, I don't have that problem, is I got a pegboard here, and I just hang my chain above it. But for those who want to have a designated space, you may not have a pegboard readily close to anywhere. Basically, we are going to mimic, I don't need the instructions, the hangy thingy from the Silka. So essentially we're all in, 30 bucks there, 15 here, so we're at 45 for a wax or hanging thing, where you can pay 100 from Silka, and which is, you know, they're nice. They go a little higher temperature because they have those zip strip brand, which is theirs, which is the squares, and that's for only for new chains. So if you're doing used chains, you're going to need to do, or pre-wax chains, you need to do something like this here. So we're going to assemble this quickly, and I'm like, man, this is actually a great idea. So I gotta find the hole, right? Force that through. Find myself my matrix Phillips. Kidding. Thread this in here. Well, let's be smart about this. Like bike mechanics, we want to pre-treat the threads with a little bit of grease in case we get some contamination. There we go. There's our stand. So essentially, I refabricated the Silka for half the price. And what's the beautiful part of it is, how high does this go up? Okay. Probably high enough. So we'll give this a try. There's a little gap underneath this waxer. That's where you can kind of center it. And this is why vertical plane. Let's take a look. Pretty darn close. I would say that's a win. Essentially, you just want to have extra catch strips to go back in there when you're actually doing yours. Therefore, you're not wasting, and you're basically recapturing as much of the wax itself. That is a total win. That is pretty cool. Awesome. So there we go. I'll have the links below. So got this guy. Oh yeah, the little strainer thing was $7. So all right, you got a 2-pot system, right? One for re-waxing, which is going to be with your little strainer, then for wearing wax. So you got a 2-pot system. You're still roughly $55 US, and you're still half price or about the Silka system itself. Okay, number 2 is this bag of Silka here is running about 45 bucks. So all this ready to wax, pretty much, except for the coat hanger bit or spoke, you're within the same cost of the Silka version. You can go with the Silka version. It's great. It's cute. Whatever. but this is actually more practical and save you a little money. And this is super easy. You basically take your chain off, and then you just dip it in here once it's ready to go. I have another spoke here. Sorry about the wiggles. We'll see if this is gonna start. Oh yeah, it's melting, and that screen underneath is transferring the heat, so that's good. And this guy's already starting to melt on this side. And I waxed the chain earlier today, so that should not take too long. So roughly it takes about 10 to 15 minutes for everything to warm up. Okay, so while we're waiting for this to warm up, we're going to talk about new chains. Okay, I got myself a new chain here. And Silka themselves have a cleaning solution, which they call chain stripper. This stuff here, step 1, step 2. You can wax your chain by doing this without using any of this on a new chain. So that's one option. So you got a couple different options. So that's I would say the lowest hanging fruit is this. If you just don't want to deal with the heating element, you don't want to deal with excessively cleaning the chain first to do so. The strip chips are pretty cool because they go in this AN1, and then it does one chip for does one chain, I believe, but it has to be new chains. So this is a new chain here. And the stripper is supposed to be super concentrated, and it's very expensive. Okay, these two are roughly about 45 bucks. The idea is you can clean the chain off, let it dry, then you drip this on each roller while laid out. Let it dry or massage it, then flip it over and do it again. This is the same stuff as this emulsified by 10% water. So if you do it once, you're at 90% wax. If you do it twice, you're at something like 95, 96. And then when you do it 3 times, you're at the 98% of coverage within the chain itself. So you pretty much essentially waxed it. Nothing does replace the heating element that really gets in those little nooks and crannies, but if you want to wax it without using the heating element, ultrasonic cleaner over there, and all that stuff, this is the simple, straight way to do it. I'm going to do an example of this one because I was totally freaking curious about it. Whew, smells like something you do not want to drink. So you put it in a jar. Oh yeah, Jardines. This is an old jar from Salsa. Pretty good. This is not an advertisement. This is really good salsa. We really like this. So you don't need a lot of this. Plus, you can reuse it. And I'll go to that in a second while we're waiting for this to heat up. You're going to pour enough in here to coat the chain. So we're going to take our chain and ball it up so it'll fit in the jar. And I believe Silka has their own video. The CEO guy, Josh, has a video on this, and pretty thorough. If I can get it to get in here, you may want to get a bigger jar. But the idea is you get it in here, you get it submerged. There we go. Always wear gloves and safety glasses, that kind of thing. I'm not getting it to go around all the way. So the idea is you let that sit in there for 10 minutes, agitate it, and what this is doing is what the stripper chip does, but within the wax. You see it's already taking off the grease or packing material or packing liquid. Sticky, it is a lube, but it's really designed to keep the chain from rusting. And it's not really a great high performance lube. So usually, most people that are in the higher performance spectrums go ahead and they do change or clean off this manufacturer packing grease to get it to do the higher performance. Because if you take that chain, which has that sticky stuff on it, then you use whatever lube that you have like in your arsenal, like WD-40 or whatever, and now it just adds more gunk and gunk and gunk. This is the reason why you go wax. Basically, it's not dirty. It doesn't collect anything. Also, it has a property that protects these componentry, the chain rings, the jockey pulleys, the cassette. It's supposed to have it prevents from that wear and tear. So it really helps that performance factor as well as preventative wear and all sorts of stuff like that. So, okay, let's check our wax. This is taking a little bit longer. Maybe I should have heated up first and dropped that strainer in there first, but that's where we're at. There. This one's getting there pretty close, so I guess I can probably still do that if I wanted to fish this out. Yeah. Hey, see that? Smarter, not harder, right? So we're going to set that aside and let that melt down. This has not been contaminated. It's just off of an older container that I had, so it's straight silica there. So once we have this all cleaned up, yeah, see how it's all that dirt and gunk. And the stuff, again, is expensive. Apparently, you can reuse it by using a coffee filter, and you can put it back into that particular vessel. I have to find a vessel to do that little process. I thought I had a little funnel, or actually I do. We'll figure that out here in a second. But gonna get that. And that's supposed to like tear off all that good stuff within like 10 minutes or so. So once we get that melted, we'll review the double dip and how to clean that. Let's review on regular waxing. Okay, if you have a new chain, one of the videos from Silica as well is using one of these bad boys called the Ultrasonic Cleaner. I use this pretty much every day, and the idea is with simple green, I got down there, I put it in these little baggies. So I put the chain in a little baggie with simple green, smaller one, like one of these guys. You can still see the green in there. I put the chain in there, straight simple green, put it in ultrasonic cleaner with a hot temperature about 50 Celsius. That cooks it for 5 minutes. I agitate it, cook it for another 5 minutes, agitate it. Then I drain the simple green out. Then I swap it out with rubbing alcohol and more jardines over there, see? Then use the same process. Rubbing alcohol is in the bag, agitate it, cook it for 5 minutes, agitate it, cook it for another 5 minutes, and let it hang and dry. I got a fan here, so it will dry, and once it's completely dry, then you're ready to dip it in there. For me, it's not a very big lift because I'm already cleaning drivetrain parts already with my ultrasonic cleaner, so it's already in the mix. But for yourself, it is a little bit longer process. That's where those chips are pretty nice, so you just put in the wax and it'll strip the wax off it. But that's an additional cost. So you're talking about, I think that's another 30 or 40 bucks for 6 blocks. So it'll do like 6 chains. So it all depends how many you're going to be changing and be doing. I did my whole family's, which is like 12 chains on 12 different bikes. And then I'm working using it as a business, so I've done about over 50 or 60 chains in the last couple months. So in the case, and also do chains, I pre-wax chains for resale too. So that's another way you can get it. So you can get a pre-waxed or send a chain to like a service like mine. We re-wax it and then send it back to you on a preferred chain of your choice, or you buy something we have currently in stock. But here we are at this guy here. Going to put it back in this. Then we can do the drip method. I'm going to show you the drip method on this chain when it's clean. So that's way you can understand the low, easy way lift of doing this. And then we're going to show the re-wax using the stuck on the paper towel strainer to shed all that gunk off. So without further ado, let me grab my other stuff and we will proceed on re-waxing. All right, welcome back. So we're at the done part of this. So I got an oversized cone here. I'm going to use a clean, not coffee filter, but it is a filtering paper towel for shop version. So basically, you pour the liquid back in and filter out the degreaser, and apparently this version of degreaser can be reused multiple times. Therefore, that uplift of 45 bucks is not lost. Got most of it out of it. There you go. And yeah, got most of it. A little darker. If I was really particular, I'd filter it a couple times. But for time reasons, we are just going to bottle and cap that. Boom. So you can reuse this at a later time. Here, we need to take the chain and get it out. And with that stripper, it has taken off all the old manufacturing or new manufacturing grease. Then you take a clean towel and wipe it off to dry. And once this is dry, then we can apply the liquid version of the Super Secret. And I like to put it on the bench, roller side up, and that's how we're gonna give it a good cleaning. So this is staged for that. I probably would put it on another hanger, let it dry, or hang it up somewhere, let it dry in front of a fan, depending, that kind of thing. So those are my extra bits I'll put back in the package. So I wonder, is there a cap on it? Yep. Actually, yeah. So this way, you know, you don't have to buy a wax melter, and then you can pay a service like me at a later date. Also, since they make a liquid version of this, it would behoove you that you can refresh your currently waxed chain and don't have to worry about waxing right away. Okay, the heated wax, they're saying 300 to 500 miles. My neighbor, she has on her gravel bike over 600 miles on one waxing. And once it starts making a little noise, you just take a drop. This does get messy, so I suggest doing it on an actual table surface versus on your bike. But you can do it on your bike, and you just want to put a drop on each link and let it just go into those nicks and crannies. Then you wait 10 to 15 minutes. I like to rotate the chain over. It leaves a little mess, droplet mess, but it still absorbs. It picks it up, and you can see how it's moving into those little nicks and crannies. So, and you do that, the process of once, 10 minutes, another time, 10 minutes, another time, 10 minutes, and you basically are at that 98% mark of waxed chain with basically the $45 combo pack here, without doing the heating, without doing ultrasonic cleaning, without the zip chip and all that. So that's your first round of doing it. The second one, again, cleaning with ultrasonic cleaner over there. Then once you do all that monkey business, then you can do the straight wax, or you do the chips, you put it in the wax there. All right, let's see where we're at. Okay, so we're liquefied almost there. This one is definitely ready to go that side. So this is that bit, goes in there. Watch out for the splash. Oh boy, I've done it now, didn't I? Okay, so that's that used chain. See how grimy it is? You leave it in for 10 minutes, and you want the chain to heat up to the temperature, because that way it melts the wax that's currently on there, and if it's new wax, it's actually really penetrating all those metal bits and getting into all the corners. And I like to put it in like so. Ooh, barely enough. So I would probably, on the next go around, add, see how it's ashing on the outside? That's the chain is still colder than the liquid. Eventually that'll heat up and get in there. And you see how it falls down and doesn't fall into the liquid? That's why I like using these guys. And then you can use another spoke to completely make sure it's submerged. Then you set your timer for 10 minutes. Within that 10 minutes though, or 5 minutes, some people say 5, I like 10, because I like to forget about it and walk away and do other things. Then come back and agitate it and see how it's kind of losing the existing wax that's on there, that darkness, and it's basically sheening the metal. So we'll give it another 10 minutes on that, and once that's done, then we'll take it out and drip it out and shake it, and then we'll put it in the more pure wax. Okay, you know, at some point you'll need to switch this out, sure. At some point that will get contaminated, sure. But since you're using such a little bit amount of this in each one, you're never dumping the whole bag in there. Man, I could only say I've done. I need to buy a new bag and start fresh to count how many chains. I've lost track on chains. I'm saying 20 plus using this so it drips and captures without losing. So you really have a value point there where if you buy one bag and it's for yourself and your own bike collection, most likely you'll never need to buy another bag for a long time. So in any case, and maybe they may have something completely different out of it then. But so if you want a low-hanging fruit here, that's your strip and liquid wax. You can strip it and do the hot and just have this as your backup arsenal to do the drip when you want to. And seeing the drip now, it's already kind of drying. It gets more of a light gray to dark gray. So it didn't completely dry yet, so I want to make sure it's dry before I drip any on there. I agitate this good. I want that old wax to melt off and settlement to go to the bottom, just like you would with mountain bike and other. That way, that's how I address multiple different waxes, also dirty chains. That's how that works. In any case, the final result is not those. You'll have yourself a beautiful waxed chain. It has a little bit of layer on it. So once it's waxed, I like to use this special, wait for it, super secret tool to help shed that wax off that chain. Yeah, it is your dorky chain cleaner that doesn't work for a darn on your bike. But this beauty actually works well of scraping off excess wax. So if you're waxing your chain, you got to wax, it's going to be super stiff, right? And you got to break it by your hand. Well, you can also throw it in here with the power link or quick link attached as one piece, and you just roll through, and that's what will break it more pliable so you can actually get it on the bike. And once it's on the bike, you put it back on there and run through it, and you will feel, as I have, it'll be stiff, and all of a sudden it'll break free and get a lot smoother. You still do need to do that 5 to 10 mile kind of break-in period, but that actually makes it a lot smoother right out of the gate. So on that first test ride that I do, it actually functions correctly. It doesn't bind up anywhere, and you're not going to have any problem there. So it's actually very beneficial if you do kind of the pre-shedding of that wax chain to have it at its best performance. You can see my little collage of stuff over here. So in any case, that's what we're looking at, and I think we're pretty good on this. See how it's dripping. Ah, perfect. That $14.99 hanger right there. Got a little extra room, and it's recapturing. That's all you really want it to do. And then you can fold it and put it away, or totally disassemble it on that. And once that's dripped off, which you're basically dripping off the old stuff, then you go and you kind of do the same thing. Roll it in this guy, the new, and then you set your timer for 10 minutes, and you're ready to go. And that's re-waxed already. There you go. There's the confessions of the chain wax addict right there. That's my current update, my current process. It has cut down my time quite a bit and less messy with that water thingy. So, hey, this is a little cleaner. And again, let's recap here. 30 bucks, 15, it gets you to 45 with the other thing in there, gets you about a 52, $53 US dollars, and you get a bag here for $45 or something like that. You're at 100 bucks, 100 bucks all in, ready to wax your chain. Boom. With that, you actually could, with that savings of that, instead of buying a whole Silco one, then you can additionally buy your little dripper with a stripper, and then, wow, that comes out really weird. But you can do and utilize all of those, all in conjunction, without using an ultrasonic cleaner for new chains only. But for dirty chains that you have regular old grease or whatever, you want to have that drive train cleaned. And also you want, from other lubes like WD-40 or Tri-Flow or Finish Line, whatever, you want to use this bad boy to clean all of that. Here's a trick. What you could do if you're having your bike tuned up and are doing a drivetrain clean, tell them to install the chain dry, nothing on it. Then you can go home with the chain and do your magic with your own lube waxing process and put it on there. So you got that option as well. So any case, you can cut out some of the ultrasonic cleaner bit, or you can use services like mine on my website where you can send in a chain to be cleaned, or used or new, with a cassette, and I'll clean them both and send them back to you. Or you can buy a pre-bought chain, or a pre-waxed chain, and ready to go out of the gate. Let's review. So yeah, it seems kind of tricky, but like anything, if you do it once, it's really not that too difficult. And I really encourage you to wax your own chains, or buy a pre-waxed one and then get the re-waxing ability. Again, about 45 bucks and you're good to go. You don't need that extra little strainer bit if you don't need to clean your chains, like if they're dirty, or if you just want to throw it in boiling water beforehand and let it dry, you can do that too. There's a couple different practices out there to do so. But I mean, okay, let's put it in perspective. What it's going to save you? It's going to save you up front. It's going to take a little bit, but once you go there, it's going to get super smooth shifting. It's going to be really quiet. So that's the dopamine hit. The actual wear and tear on your cassette and jockey pulleys, in addition to your chain rings over a period of time, like you'd say 2 chains to 1 cassette. Well, I've seen or heard scenarios where the chains hardly stretch and they have like multiple thousands of miles on one chain that's been waxed multiple times. So the cost of the chain and cassettes themselves probably would definitely warrant the cost of a heater, waxer, hanger, and the wax itself. And then when you start talking about jockey pulleys, well, they're not that expensive, but chain rings for the crank set, you get an Ultegra or Dura-Ace chain ring, you're talking about hundreds of dollars. So in that sense, it gives you all those benefits in addition to saves those parts for long-term wear and tear. Is it proven? Yeah, it is. Does it matter what kind of wax you do? Well, you suggest probably a little bit nicer ones. Look at the zero friction. You tested all of them, or a good portion of them. You can see the different ratings. The funny thing is, he actually did one, was on just straight candle wax, paraffin wax only. It outperformed any drip lube. So, needless to say, even the crappiest wax that might be out there, or even your own concoction you made up in your kitchen, probably outperforms any kind of drip lube from WD-40, Finish Line, UFO, whatever. Not to knock those brands, I'm sure they put a lot of research and development and all that, and a lot of heck of marketing. Marketing to sway you to buy their products. Yes. Kool-Aid, that is. So for the anti-Kool-Aid person myself, I have no vendors. This is not sponsored. This is the stuff that I use in the shop because it works. That's where the bottom line comes down to. The heater works. The hanger works. The Silca works on several of my customers, including my own personal bikes, in addition to. The ultrasonic cleaner works. It's one of those things. You'll find all those links in my description below under my Amazon channel or on Amazon shop as well. So, in any case, if you do something different or have different processes, whatever, please throw the comments below. This is a community. All the information I have used and the products here and the techniques are in the description below as well. If it's nice in your neck of woods, please go for a ride. And again, thanks for hanging out with me in the garage. Until next time, this lube addict, wax lube addict, is going to go back at it. At it, whack it, whack it, whack it, whack it, whack it.
Have a wonderful day. Oh God, I forgot. I need to do the final reveal. Ooh, that's hot. Wear gloves. It's toasty.
There you go. Re-waxed. They'll leave a little darkness to it with this particular type because the tungsten disulfide is black. It's a graphite. So you can make your own, like candle wax, canning wax, and maybe not as pure as this as they claim. Tungsten disulfide is just a graphite. You can get yourself a little bit of graphite, put it in there. You'll probably have very similar results. I played with beeswax before and I've seen it work really well, so whatever the case may be. But there you go. And now I can turn these little guys off. Let them cool. Voila! Wax chain. Just now I need to do a little shedding thing and put it back on the bike.